Sports Tonight now, Brad McEwan and Brad. Some difficult news for the AFL, in particular Richmond. The coach is now in hospital.
Yeah, Terry Wallace has a respiratory infection. The Tigers expect him to coach against Essendon. Details next. Also, Dean Solomon talks about his 8-match suspension.
What's my time this morning?
Also tonight, a very busy day off for Cadell Evans. Welcome news for the Wallabies and the AFL's travelling man. 50,000 kilometres and he still hasn't played a game. Good evening and welcome to Toyota Sports Tonight. Concern for Richmond coach Terry Wallace. He's in hospital tonight suffering from a severe respiratory infection. Wallace turned up for work, but as Ian Cohen reports, he couldn't go on.
Thanks, Brad. Good evening. We all wish Terry Wallace a speedy recovery, but he was too ill yesterday to take his weekly media conference and he has been admitted to hospital. But the Tigers are confident that he's going to be back in the box coaching for the crunch game against Essendon on Saturday. He's never missed a game in his 229 games as coach of the Bulldogs and Tigers. Brian Royal is the most likely assistant to stand in if Wallace doesn't improve in time. Essendon has its own dramas ahead of Saturday's match. Midfielder Mark McVeigh's knee injury has flared again. Surgery tomorrow, ruling him out for at least 4 weeks.
He's definitely disappointed, and so are we, because he's been in great form and one of our top midfielders through the year.
Dean Solomon has broken his silence over his 8-match suspension, claiming he wasn't surprised he got the penalty.
I knew straight away that I'd really calculated the incident wrong and made a massive mistake. I actually put my hand straight up once the contact was made, and I knew that I'd done the wrong thing.
Coach Mark Harvey has guaranteed Solomon will remain a Docker next year, offering a grin and a job for the rest of the season.
I might look at him being the tackling coach or something like that.
You want.
But Solomon received no support from WA's Premier and die-hard Docker fan.
If you hit a player against the rules in the way that Dean Solomon does, and that player is injured and out of the game for 6 weeks, you, as the offender, should get 12 weeks.
At Whitten Oval, Ryan Griffin and Scott Welsh both returned for the top-of-the-table clash with Geelong, and the Dogs are barking.
First time it's been a first versus second clash that I've been involved in, so very exciting, and we can't wait to get out there.
Adelaide claims captain Andrew McLeod could be back from his knee injury in time for this week's Showdown 25.
Spoke to Andrew this morning and he's did a pretty solid session yesterday and pulled up well from it.
AFL boss Andrew Demetrio has led the Codes' move into West Sydney.
We're certainly not delusional that it's going to be easy, but we're keen to invest and we're keen to stay the distance.
And Brad, before I go, news out of the Lions' den. Nigel Lappin has had Achilles surgery in a last chance bid to get it right before season's end. So good luck to him. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Ian. We wish Nigel Lappin all the best, a terrific player. Adelaide Crows teenager Patrick Dangerfield has become the game's travelling man, and he hasn't even played a senior match. After clocking up 50,000 kilometres this season, he is set to become the first player ever to be promoted from the Under-18 TAC Cup to the AFL in the same week.
He's the most travelled player in the AFL this year, but is yet to play a game.
I've been just about everywhere but Western Australia this year, so it's been different, though, to say the least.
In fact, Patrick Dangerfield's hectic lifestyle has seen him clock up 50,000 kilometres. He lives in Moggs Creek, travels nearly an hour to Geelong for school. From Melbourne, he's made 16 flights to Adelaide and trips to Brisbane and Launceston for games he's been named as an emergency. Also, there was a pre-season trip to Dubai. But life has just got a little easier. Dangerfield has just got his licence.
I'm clocking him up at the moment. I got it about 2 months ago, so I'm clocking him up.
It's a long way from Geelong in the depths of winter to the big city lights of the AFL, but putting school ahead of footy is a decision he doesn't regret.
Not at all. I was chatting with Mum the other day that it's the best decision I think I could have made.
The top 10 draft pick dominates in the TAC Cup and makes cameos for West Adelaide as he awaits his Crows call-up.
With the players we've had through like Luke Hodge and Ablett and Bartel and Jonathan Brown, Cameron Ling, etc., you know, at his age, he's as good as any of them.
Such is the hype. He already has his own YouTube clip. with the Crows suddenly without their two leading goal kickers in Burton and Portpleasure, they're considering throwing Dangerfield to the Wolves. He could make his debut in the showdown on Sunday. For now, the boy dubbed Danger Mouse will concentrate on his studies ahead of a permanent move to Adelaide in November. Kelly Underwood for Sports Tonight.
We've got some great minutes of rugby league on the way.
Another leading rugby league player looks set to head overseas, with reports in an English newspaper tonight that Manly veteran Steve Menzies is considering joining Super League club Bradford. But while Menzies is at the end of his career, Australian coach Ricky Stewart fears that some of rugby league's brightest young stars will be headhunted by rich foreign clubs.
Some high-flying support for the Kangaroos with the World Cup 101 days away. But the talk still about who won't be playing. While Australia's coach says there's plenty of options to replace Mark Gasnier in the national team, he's worried about who might follow him overseas.
What I'm scared about is that it'll happen to our younger players more and more now.
And while State of Origin and International League remain a major incentive to keep those young players in the NRL, Stewart fears it might not be enough in the face of $1 million a season contracts.
I don't think the game rugby's the threat, I think it's the money, personally.
If we're to compete against overseas, we've got to be able to offer more money, but we can't offer money that's not there, you know. We can't cripple the game to hold on to, you know, a dozen players.
At South Sydney, 5 straight wins and some camera-shy drug testers turned up for the first time this season. The Rabbitohs rookie centre Jamie Simpson talking about his fight with cancer.
Sort of went through an extensive 12-month course of chemo in Rockhampton and didn't go away after that, so I had to get a stem cell transplant in Brisbane, where I was in hospital for a month and I lost about 20 kilos.
Simpson missed 3 years of footy.
It was pretty much a saviour to me. It kept me going, just thinking that I can get involved in rugby league while I was still sick.
He's a guy who I don't think losing a few footy games is going to get him down after what he's been through, so his enthusiasm has been great for us this season. Simpson's
been in remission for the last 4 years. He's awaiting the final all clear from his doctors.
Everything's downhill from cancer, that's what I say. Once you get through it, that's the hard part. Everything after that's a walk in the park.
Leanne West for Sports Tonight.
The Wallabies will regain plenty of experience for Saturday's test against South Africa in Perth. Nathan Sharp, Wycliffe Palu and Lottie Takiri return from injury. Veteran Phil Waugh pushed to the bench in favour of George Smith. The home side declaring there is no room for the faint-hearted as the Tri-Nations heats up.
You definitely have to be up for the physical contest, you know, as everyone sort of knows here. The last 2 games between the Blacks and the Box have been obviously very physical. We expect nothing different on Saturday night.
The teams have met 4 times previously in Perth and have 2 wins apiece.
His big effort has been made right on the barrier.
The spectre of drugs is once again hanging over the Tour de France. Spanish rider Moises Duenas Novato has been detained by police after returning a positive test for the blood booster, EPO. And while Australian hopes are hanging on the fortunes of yellow jersey wearer Cadel Evans, there are some Aussies plotting his downfall.
Mobbed by the media on Latour's first rest day, Cadel Evans revealing the reason for his emotional acceptance of the yellow jersey, his Stage 9 high mountain crash.
Sunday, I thought my tour was over. I was honestly, I can't think of a polite word to describe how scared I was. Here we are with the yellow jersey, early. But the goal always stays the same, yellow in Paris.
The man he replaced at the head of the pack, Alejandro Valverde, has questioned whether Evans has the team support to take out the final prize. Frank Schleck just 1 second behind and backed by another Aussie, Stuart O'Grady.
We're paid to do our job and my job is to do whatever it takes for my team, but then in 3 weeks' time we're going to be sitting around the Olympic Village in Beijing teammates.
That's the way it is. Sometimes we're friends, sometimes we're almost enemies. No, we're outside of the racing, we're all friends.
The riders are back in the saddle for a winding 167-kilometre Stage 11 at the base of the Pyrenees, then 3 days of riding on the plains before the crucial climbing stages begin Sunday. Anthony Goodridge for Sports Tonight. Australian cricket's most prestigious trophy will make a long-awaited return this summer.
After an absence of 9 years, the Sheffield Shield was unveiled at the MCG this morning. It was originally bought with a donation from Lord Sheffield, who travelled here with W.G. Grace's England team in 1892. Now it returns to replace the Pura Cup.
Watching the people on TV and actually going to the Sydney Cricket Ground, as like a young kid watching Sheffield Shield matches, it's a very historic thing, and it's great that it's back.
Weet-Bix has been announced as the competition's new sponsor. Tiger Woods is still the talk of the course ahead of golf's third major, the British Open, despite his absence following knee surgery. Players rejecting suggestions that without the world number one, the credibility of this year's winner would be questioned. Jeff Ogilvy, the top-ranked Aussie, and the odds are in his favour. Only Americans and Australians have ever won the Open at Birkdale.
Yeah, it'll be extend the streak. It'll be, well, no, it's not really a streak, is it? Because we've had one since Finchy, but it'll be nice.
Ian Baker Finch won in 1991. 2 years later, Greg Norman won at Royal St George's. Beijing-bound marathon runner Lisa Waitman will carry not only the hopes of Australia next month, but also a famous sporting name. Cousin of Richmond legend Dale Waitman, she's hoping to replicate his efforts in yellow and black while wearing the green and gold.
In the marathon madness, Lisa Waitman will draw inspiration from her famous cousin Dale. But she's hoping his legendary Tiger tenacity is all she needs from her footballing genes.
I don't think I'll need any of Dale's tactics for the marathon, hopefully. But yeah, I'll try and stick a bit to the side. I think it's going to be nice and warm out there, so I don't think you want to be too close to too many athletes.
Footy's in the blood. Her dad Peter played one game for Fitzroy and is now an assistant with Collingwood's VFL team, while the Flea still loves to stick it to his old opponents.
Look, I used to run a fit out here, but a marathon was always out of my reach. I saw what it did to Tony Shaw running into trees, so I never tried one. But I know how hard, I can imagine how hard it is.
Her next assignment at the G is the October 12 Samsung Melbourne Marathon. Her dad's super proud she's making her way.
You sort of dream, I guess, that she'll do the best she can possibly do, but you don't start with the Olympic Games.
While Lisa's strict training regime will see her line up at Beijing weighing a mere 44 kilos, just across the river and 2 decades ago, her aptly named cousin was plying his trade and he wasn't much heavier.
I only played at 69 kilos, which is light. Yeah, that's right. The only reason is this is because Pete doesn't feed her. I'm telling you, all these years saved a fortune. There's nothing on that.
But every ounce will be running for gold on day 9 of the Games. Ian Cohen for Sports Tonight.
Happy family, the Waitmans, aren't they? Good luck to Lisa. Continuing the AFL flavour now with the best marks and the best goals from round 15.
From 60 to the goal square. Medhurst! A one-hander! Yeah, he's got to go back and have a shot this time, doesn't he? In almost 18 minutes since half-time. John Cock, the target. Harry O'Brien climbs upstairs. And you don't get better in-flight entertainment than that of an airline.
Goal, it's Everett. Measures it. Wants Buchanan. Oh, wonderful mark by the veteran.
He grabs his head. He may have landed fairly hard.
Lumbering towards it, fell over, goes after it, they did well, puts it across to accommodate Betts, and Betts kicks a miracle goal. The pulse is becoming more rapid by the moment.
Foley, another good game for him. And he takes off, he looks around, looks at Emily in the eyes, and takes the ball on. Delightful. Ross puts it to full forward, Thompson off hand. Legend Thomas! A miracle!
Someone like Daniel Wells, when he won goal of the year, he got this on the fly. Look, he's in motion. He knows he's going to kick this once he's got it.
We had all
Four Seasons come and visit us in the mountains this week with snow flurries, drizzle, clouds and sunshine. But as for today, we had a blue sky and sunshine start with the clouds starting to roll in, a good sign that forecast snow is on the way. The cover across all New South Wales resorts is in good shape. It started out firm pack this morning but softened up nicely as the day went on. Here in Thredbo, riders headed right on up to Carroll's, the highest lifted point in Australia, and blasted all the way back down to the village for a gruelling 5.9 kilometres, while intermediates enjoyed hitting up the groomed runs around Antons. At Perishablu, Schnaxel at Guthiga proved popular with intermediate riders, while the Littlies could not stay away from Tube Town that opened yesterday. At Selwyn, Snowfield's home run was the perfect beginner's snowy playground. Now crossing the border to the Victorian resorts, where the conditions are very similar. At Falls Creek, Drover's Dream was the pick with 40 kilometres of groomed cross-country trails for the adventurers. At Mount Hotham, riders soaked up the morning rays at Sunrun, and the team tell me they are looking at opening Keogh's and Orchid on Friday. And at Mount Buller, the rail and tube parker were up and running with Wombat Run, the hot favourite today. Well, it looks like we'll be waving goodbye to the sunshine and saying a big hello to the snow clouds, with snow showers forecast right through until mid next week. So if you are heading up this way, make sure you pack in the winter warmers. This is Fiona Gwyther in Thredbo for Sports Tonight.
The Netherlands, famous for windmills, clogs, cheese, tulips and the mud marathon. As far as prestige goes, yeah, it's a tad below the Olympic marathon and much smellier. Over 300 participants raced 3.5 kilometres through 21 stinking canals in a bid to win the world's dirtiest race. In the team's event, it's not the time that matters, but the cleanliness of the female participant, after she is transported around the course by 4 very helpful but putrid men. The overall winner earned a bath and our play of the day.
What is it with the obsession in sporting contests to
get dirty,
play in mud and things?
Oh, well, I know it's a boy thing.
I was going to say boy thing, but the women were there.
They were there as well.
I guess.
Absolutely.
People like that.
Now, before we go,
anyway,
some athletics news. Long jumper Fabrice Lapierre is heading to the Olympics after he won his appeal against his non-selection in the Aussie team. Patrick Johnson, though, lost his appeal. His only chance now is to appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So we wish him well, but it's not looking too good.
Fingers crossed for him. Thanks, Bradley.
Thank you.
What's up weather-wise? Let's take a look. Mostly cloudy in Cairns tomorrow. A foggy start to a sunny day in Brisbane. It'll be mostly sunny in Sydney for Super Thursday. Mostly sunny in Hobart and Darwin. A late shower in Canberra. Rain will develop in Melbourne. Showers to increase in Perth. A sunny day on the way in the Alice. That's the latest from the 10 News Centre. The early news tomorrow is at 6 a.m. I'm Sandra Sully from the Late News team. We'll see you tomorrow, we hope. Good night.